This is Block 9, the Liberal Establishment, Section 7, the Vietnam War, with the section Operation Rolling Thunder. One of Johnson's first responses in February of 1965, a few months after the Gulf of Tonkin Resolution, was Operation Rolling Thunder. And this was predicated in February of 1965, communist guerrillas known as the Viet Cong, that's a word you're going to have to know, the Viet Cong, the VC, or Charlie. Viet Cong attacked a U.S. air base in South Vietnam. Now remember, there are still no combat troops in Vietnam in the winter of in February of 1965. These are the advisors, the trainers to ARVN, the South Vietnamese Army. But American troops are now under fire from communist guerrillas. Johnson works to retaliate, and he orders the retaliation by the U.S. Air Force. He orders the American bomber fleet to start bombing military targets in North Vietnam. Non-nuclear, these are all going to be conventional forces. No nuclear weapons are ever used in Vietnam. Our nuclear bombers that are designed to carry nuclear bombs, now get filled up with conventional, regular sorts of bombs. This is a big airplane. This is a huge airplane. In the span of a few months, more bombs are dropped on North Vietnam that had been dropped in all of World War II, which is a lot of bombs. Just fleets of these airplanes flew over North Vietnamese airspace. It was known as Operation Rolling Thunder, and the goal is to prevent the Viet Cong from being able to wage war by destroying their supplies, destroying their roads. But the problem was the Viet Cong did not need much in the way of supplies, and they moved through the jungle without really the use of roads. That, there were tracks in the jungle. That we have these multi-million-dollar airplanes dropping bombs that cost $10,000, $20,000 a pop, just dropping on the jungle. And you have this incredibly powerful Air Force that is completely unable to destroy tracks through the jungle, because tracks through the jungle can't easily be destroyed by bombs. And so you start to get this dichotomy that's going to take place throughout the entire war of this technologically advanced superpower absolutely incapable of destroying a pre-modern army. And that was the case with Operation Rolling Thunder. Now, it was successful in lots of ways. The actual North Vietnamese army, was damaged. That it was more difficult to move supplies. But the Viet Cong believed in what they believed in. They believed in their cause. And even though they were bombed and shelled and destroyed, they kept going. They kept cutting tracks through the jungle. They were incredibly good at hiding supplies and hiding trails. And all of these bombs that were dropped did very little except to anger the Vietnamese people against the United States. Now, they're more accurate than ever, but still, people die in these bombings that had nothing to do with the war. And it's an unfortunate reality of conflict, but what it's doing is it's not making the Americans any fans amongst people who haven't quite decided whether they're on the communist side or on the anti-communist side. So Operation Rolling Thunder. Plus the fact, another thing that's going on with Operation Rolling Thunder is Johnson's picking targets himself. President Johnson is personally picking targets. He is not letting the military do its job the way the military wants to do its job. That Johnson and his Secretary of Defense are the ones picking targets for the Air Force to then go attack. And you start to get this rift between the civilian leadership of the war and the military leadership of the war, who might want to do other things with this Operation Rolling Thunder.